The next thing to consider is ACCESSFM. This is an acronym. This just means that all the letters mean something different. The first letter is an A. This stands for aesthetics. Aesthetics relates to the human senses, for example, sight, touch, hear, smell, taste. In the case of the mechanical toy, the aesthetics that should be considered are sight and maybe touch. You might want to consider the colours. You might paint it, if the shape of the design works well, or what details have been added to grab people's attention. An example for my product might be, I will use a pretty pink colour because it relates to the theme of a dancer. The second letter is a C. This stands for cost. The things that need to be considered at this stage are how you might keep the costs down when making it so that your design could make more profit, or how much you might sell it for and why. An example for my mechanical toy might be, I will keep the product fairly small to reduce the amount of materials I need to use. This will reduce the amount I need to spend on materials and increase my profit. The third letter is also a C. This letter stands for client. The things that you need to consider at this stage are things like the colours and design and how they're suitable for the client. The word client just means who you were designing the product for. An example of this would be, I've chosen to paint the mechanical toy white and pink because these are colours related to ballet and also suitable for my clients, which are young girls. The fourth letter is an E. This stands for environment. The things to consider at this stage are things like the 6 R's. This stands for recycle, reduce, rethink, repair, reuse, and refuse. Or, is the material biodegradable, i.e. will the material rot away easily after use? Or, are the materials used sustainable, which means will they ever run out if we made large amounts? An example for my product would be, I will use recycled wood to make the frame because it means less trees will need to be cut down. This will reduce the product's carbon footprint. Carbon footprint just means the total greenhouse gas emissions caused by an individual or product. The fifth letter is an S. This stands for size. The things to consider at this stage are, how big will the product be? Why would you make it that size? Where will the product be placed? And why knowing the place affects the size? An example for my design would be, the mechanical toy will be 400mm high to give me room for the mechanism, 200mm wide and 200mm deep so that it will easily fit on a child's bedside table or shelf. The sixth letter is also an S. This stands for safety. The things to consider at this stage are, is the product potentially dangerous? What have you done to reduce the dangers? An example for my design would be, I have rounded the corners of the frame to reduce the chance of a child getting cut. I will also smooth the wood to reduce the chance of splinters. The seventh letter is an F. This stands for function. This relates to how the product works. The things to think about at this stage are, will the handle turn easily and how you might achieve this? Or will the mechanical toy move in the way you want it to? An example for my design would be, the hole that I will drill will be slightly larger than the stick running through it to make sure it moves smoothly. The eighth letter is an M. This stands for materials. The things to consider at this stage would be, what materials are you planning to use? Why are you planning to use those materials? Are the materials easy to work with? Etc. An example for my product would be, I am going to use pine, which is a softwood, to make the frame because it's fairly easy to cut through and work with. It can also be painted easily. The final letter is also an M. This time it means manufacture. The things to consider at this stage are, how are you going to make the product, what tools you might use and why, how you might finish the product, i.e. with gloss paint or spray paint. An example for my product will be it will be made by cutting the wood using a handsaw and then joining the pieces together with glue and screws. This will be firmly connecting